Yeah, so good morning once again, everyone, and welcome to today's class. We'll continue from where we left off in the CSS as of the last class. So we made mention of how to, in the last class, we made mention of CSS, we made mention of inline styling, internal styling, and external styling, where I made mention that the best approach to style your CSS is actually using external styling because along the line, you are not going to be working alone, and every style you'll be creating on your CSS, it has to be accessible to everyone and to make your code readable. Also, in the last class, I made mention of good folder structure. Good folder structure simply means that every 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 folder has a particular name. So every images you'll be making use of in this our project, I wrapped everything inside our images folder. Every other pages, which include our about us page, our blog page, our contact us page, our exploit page, our sign up page, are in a pages folder, and everything regarding our styles are inside our index, inside our style folder, and we name our style index.css. As I mentioned in the last class, index.css can be anything. The only thing that matters most is the extension behind it, which is the .css. And also, I also made mention in the last class that it is best that the only file that is exposed, which is going to be the entry level of your website, is the index.html. So once you load up your page, and the next thing you are seeing is once it just goes to any browser, it sees the index.html page and it loads it up. That is what we made mention of in the last class. And also how to link your external CSS to your index.html page. You have your link, which the rel is the style sheet, the type is the text/css, and you have an href, which you have a dot/style/index.css. What that simply means is that yeah, your style.css is in the external page, is in an external folder. So you have to take one step out of your index.html file into your style folder, then a slash into your index.css. That is how you link your style sheet into your HTML page. Also, in the last class, we also made mention of something called a global reset. We also made mention of something called the global reset, which is the asterisk. Once you have an asterisk and you have your margin 0, padding 0, box sizing, border box, this simply implies that on every web browser, there is a default margin and padding on every page. So as a developer, you have to reset your user's browser automatically from your code, making sure that every default margin and padding is left out. So every margin and padding is just the one you are setting on your code. For every element in your code base, that is what is applied there. And also in the last class, we also made mention of fonts. However, in CSS, there are different kind of fonts that are available on your user's browser, which include the major ones that is always available is sans serif. But most times you want to use a different font size which your user don't have on their browser. So the next thing you have to do is go to googlefont.com. When you have gone to googlefont.com, you select the font you want and you import it into your style.css. You can either import it in your HTML page, which Google is going to give you the option right at the point where you are going to import it, or you just copy this import. Either one is going to work. And on the body of your element, you now set your font family to, we are using Mozart here. you set it to Mozarat. And if Mozarat is not available, then the next thing we have to use is sans serif. So what, okay, for example, now you are writing your code on your local machine and Mozarat is not available because Mozarat is internet based. Mozarat is somewhere on the internet while you are just using it inside your code. If you are writing code and it's not available, then the next thing that your browser is going to fall on is going to be sans serif. So right now, Mozarat is going to work for everyone because I am connected to the internet. But the moment I'm not connected to the internet, which I can't do now, sans serif is going to be the one that our font family is going to look like. So I hope you have that's a brief explanation of what we did in the last class. So today we'll be diving right into our what we'll be building, which is this CodeCamp website, and everything we have learned in the last class and other new concepts will be added to it. Hope we all understand, and there's no question. And there's no question. Please, Blessing, are you the only one that can hear me? Am I audible enough?
Yes, go ahead.
All right, thank you very much. Yeah, so we'll be starting by creating our we have done our global reset, and the font family from CodeCamp website, which you saw earlier, was Mozarat font family, which is Mozarat. Mon and the next thing is sans serif, which is the fallback on. So let's go back to our index.html and create the structure of our website. So the first thing we have is we have a div, which is for our navigation. So, and I also okay, I didn't make mention in the last class. For us to be able to style this div, we have to give it a class name. So you have a class name, a class, and I can give it, okay, navigation. Let me give it navigation. Let me just give it a short name so we don't start writing long name. There's no good practice, there's no bad practice, but it's advisable that you give your class name something short that you can always remember at any point in time, and they must be descriptive enough so that anyone that's coming back to your code base can always understand what they want to do next. Okay, they are looking for this style. What is styling this particular part is the nav. So that is the upper part of our website is the nav. So that's what we are going to have. Then I call it the nav. Then the next thing we have there is we have an image. We have an image which have an src. Then it's inside our images folder dot slash. We go into our images folder. Then we have our logo. Then we have our alt, which is for screen readers, so that I can always know that, okay, we have if the image is not visible, they can know that this is the logo for the website. So we have a logo here. We have a logo here. So, and the next thing we have is we have a UL. We have a UL, and inside the UL we have an LI. Inside each of the LI, we are going to have a link tag, which is the A tag. We have an href. So the first one right on our page here is the home page. The first one we have is home, about, contacts, explore, and how it works. So we just do that. We have home, which is our index. Home. Okay, I should increase my screen. Yeah. So it links directly to our page, which is the index.html. So I don't need to add a dot slash there. I just need to put the index.html then. The next one is about us. For this, we have inside our pages, and we have to do a dot slash pages, then about us. The next one we have is contact us. Contact. Then we have a dot slash, same way, dot slash pages slash contact us. And the next one is explore. and we have the same thing here, /pages explore. So, and we have how it works. So I would use tentatively our sign up page for that. We'll still, when we want to build the page, we'll definitely go back to that. So then on our browser, we have a button. I'll just use a button. I'll just use a button for that, and I will write it is what's there. It is enroll now. Enroll now. So let's open our browser. Let's go to our live server and see what we have. As I've made mention previously, that the browser you're using does not matter. It's still going to work the same way, but I make use of Chrome, which is based on my own preference. Just make use of Chrome, which is just my own. I have no biases against any other website, any other browser, but I just like using Chrome. So HTML. So we have the same thing here now. You can see that for our button, because I'm using a semantic tag called button, it gave us a rounded border around it. But for this our particular button, it's not actually a button, it's a link, because it links to a different page, which is probably where you're going to sign up. It links to a Google form. So that's where our sign up page is going to come in. So let's use a div for that instead. A div. Yeah, someone hand was raised. Sorry, I didn't. Akim, kindly unmute and speak. Mkesh, kindly unmute and speak.
Yeah, good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Yeah, my question is about the folder that you created. You said if we want to work with any file, we have to create folder for it.
Okay, so what's the question?
Okay, the question is creating a folder for image. What if you want to push the code to GitHub? I don't know how to put it. Like there was a time like I created a folder for image, and for me to push it to GitHub, like I can't even carry the image folder. I need to dismantle it. I don't know if there is a way to it. Do you
All right,
understand my question?
I understand your question. Don't worry. When we get to that point, I would explain it. But what I'm saying
Okay,
here is,
okay.
for good folder structure, this is the best way to go about it.
Oh,
Ike, please, you have this raise. You
all right.
Yeah,
have a question.
let me respond, and this to her and to every other person, right? One of the things I want people to understand is that this is a beginner class and there are other persons also trying to keep up. So try not to ask questions that is not within the context of what is being discussed. Okay, we are not about GitHub right now. So that should not be a question you should bring up at all. We are not talking about uploading anything to GitHub. We are not in GitHub. So please don't interrupt a class with a question that is ahead of what is being discussed. There are other people who are trying to learn these things. Okay, so that's a more generic response I want to actually give to you. You can ask that on your channel later on, but please don't. And nobody should interrupt the class with questions that's ahead of what is being taught. Please take note of that. Thank you.
Yeah, all right. Thank you very much, Ike. So I'm just making mention that this is a standard practice of having good folder structure across board, because you won't want it that your images and every other page are just scattered around. What if you want to read your code later on in the future? What if you want to come back to it? Then you have to make your code readable for yourself and every other person that's going to be making use of it. So then we have a button right there. We'll do dot slash pages and our sign up page, which you don't have yet. So this is what we have. This is what we have currently now. We have our home page, and now let's style it. Let's now go to our CSS. So what do we have at the top here? We can see that each one of them are spaced around. There's a background color of white. Let's check. The color, the major color of this website is the background color is white. Let me be sure. Let me use a color picker to check the particular color of the background to be sure. Okay, white. The background color is white, which we are going to use. Let's set that in our code. Let's set that in the body element, so we know that the only thing we have all through the background of our web page, background color is. There are different ways to assign colors in CSS. You can either use the direct name, which is white. There's something called RGBA, which is 255, 255, 255, which is white. The reason for these different ways to call a color in CSS is because that some browsers, once you write the generic name for white, it's actually difficult for them to give you the exact white color, because white can be generic. You can have light white, you can have deep white, you can have off white. As you know, ladies, for example, ladies have tomato red, purple red, different kind of red. So for you to be able to achieve a particular color, you can see that, okay, this stuff is green. This particular, let's go to CodeCamp website. Yeah, let's use CodeCamp logo, for example. You can see that we have a green here, but there are also different shades of green. They are lighter green, they are deeper green. So for you to be able to achieve that particular kind of green, which is on the particular design, you either have to use an RGBA or an hexadecimal code, which is this. You have an RGBA, or you have this hash, which is a standard way of writing your colors in CSS. If you write white, it's still going to go, but what if the particular white you want is not the original white color, which has a different shade of, okay, it looks like ash, but it's not white. So that is why you have to use an RGBA or an hexadecimal color, or an hexadecimal. Did you understand? Do you understand what I said? Anyone having any question with colors? Color picker is an extension on Google Chrome. Color picker is an extension on Google Chrome. Just go to your Google Chrome extension and you just search for color picker and you see it there. So most times you don't need a color picker, because on every design you'll be given, there'll be a color attached to it. So Paul, your hand is raised. Kindly unmute and speak.
Yeah, thank you, sir. So actually, I wanted to ask, you were talking about the RGB and hexadecimal. I don't know, is there a particular preference? Let me say the one that is like easier to use, because, for example, I want to use a color that is either dark or like, I'll find it difficult to define it. Like, is it yellow, green, yellow, red, something blue? You
Okay.
get, so
All right.
the RGB, I don't know which one.
All right. You don't need to really stress yourself on which particular shade you want. So let's go back to our code. You can see I've written this hexadecimal. Once you hover on it, it gives you a color template here. It gives you a color template, and you can select yourself. Okay, this is red. So if you click on this part, you see this is the hexadecimal code. You don't necessarily need to bore yourself with what color you want. But once you know the color code and you want a deeper shade of it, you can just come to this part, navigate on it, and you can see I am having different shades of red. I can move from this top to a light red, and everything you want is right there in VS Code. You don't need to start, okay, going to Zamfara to start looking for, okay, I want a deeper color of yellow. What is the color code? Most times, if you are working with a UI UX designer, you would all the color code you'll be needing will be attached to everything you want. But you are not working with a UI UX designer, you're just developing colors yourself. That's when you're going to be having issues with that. So if you want to develop a website, for me, when I work and there's no color, there's always a place I go to get all my colors, which is called Cool Colors. Yeah, it just this is a tool for front-end developers when you don't have a UI UX designer and you need colors. Just come over to Cool Colors and select any colors you want. The RGBA and every other thing you need is going to be there. So accept all, and I just come here and I just do generate start generator. It gives me different kind of colors that I want. So I don't need to begin to think of colors which I need. So that's that about colors. So colors is just generic. Any color you want, you can just, if it's yellow, you can just come here and you will see there's a yellow color here. You can now pick the shade you want. If it's a deep yellow, you just come here and it gives you the color code, and you just copy the color code and take it to your VS Code, and you have yellow. I hope that answers the question, John.
Yes, sir, but
Yeah.
I'm not John, I'm Paul.
Oh, sorry, Paul. There's also a person called John Paul in the class. So Paul. All right. Thank you very much. So let's continue. So we have the color code we have for our background color is FE, which is white, but it's a different shade of white. So now let's now go to our div. Let's now go to our div, which we give it a class name of nav. So if you want to target a div, a class name in a class in CSS, what you do is a dot and you have your nav in front of it. Then you have targeted this element already, which is the container holding everything around. So let's come here. Everything has to be side by side. According to this design, where is it? According to this design, everything has to be side by side. There are different ways of making elements side by side. You can either use a margin, a padding, and all, but I would start from the various ways. What if you are working on a legacy code, which is float? But at this point in time, float is no longer in use. It's very rare for you to see float in any code base, but it's just an added advantage for you. You don't really need to understand the float, but just have it at the back of your mind. You have something called display. It should be here. It's not, you can see it has already been removed from VS Code. So there's nothing like display, there's nothing like float any longer. It's going to work if I've not used float in like 4 years now of me writing code. I've not used float because it is no longer in use. But if you check other code bases, you would see it. So there's something called flex. In CSS, you have something called flex. Flex is for you to make items stay side by side. According to this, our design, we have these images side by side. We have all these side by side. So when we come here, we do something called display. We have a flex. And by the time we display it flex, all the image, everything is, you can see, it's all side by side and they are all together. So for this, there should be a space amidst them. There's something called, when you're using a flex property, there's something called justify content space between. So you're giving it equal space around it. You can see everything are all on equal line and the space around it are equal. So you now have to make everything align to the center properly, because when you look at this, our arrow now, you can see it's at the top and we have, they are not kind of aligned properly. So you have to do something called align item. It's something called align item, which can be used either with align item. You're aligning it to the center. You can align it to the baseline, to the end, or to the center, because we want everything to be at the center. We'll still have a proper class on Flexbox, but this is just a basic understanding of how to put items side by side in CSS. So by the time we align it center, we have it right on the center. Everything are all on the same line. No one is above each other. If I use a 2 to check it out, I have a 2 here. You can see that everything are all aligned to the center properly. So for our navigation link, for our UL, let's also style that. We can also give it a class. But let's give it a class so we know that we are also working with class. So let's have class. We call it nav link, which is depicting that, okay, this is our navigation link. So let's come back to our CSS here. Dot nav dash link. Nav links, is there an S there? Okay, it's nav link. Then we also use a display flex here. You also use a display flex here to allow everything to be on the same line. Use a display flex here. Display flex. You can see we have everything side by side already. So let's give it a space between. Let's give it a space. That's justify content space between. There are different kind of space between. There is space between, the space around. When we go into Flexbox properly, we would understand the different ways of floating of using justify content. So we have justify content space between, and we also have align item center. So we have to align this item to the center. Anytime you are using a Flexbox, anytime you're using Flex, you have to align your item to the center so that everything are all on the same line. So we have it, there should be a gap to give it a space there. Who can tell me why there is no space in between them? Can anyone tell me why there's no space in between them? Okay, Stanley, can you go ahead?
Good morning. Yeah, I did raise my hand for a question, but okay. Let me give a shot for this one. The reason why there is no space between them is you did justify content and space between on a list item. That's why there is no space. You're supposed to use a gap, or you could do margin or padding for that, but preferably for Flexbox is gap that they use. So I don't know if that answered the question.
Okay. Yeah, you actually answered the question, but what I actually wanted you to say was that was not what you said. The reason why that is not the reason why. Okay, let me give other person a try. Okay, Samson, go ahead.
Okay, I think because we don't have a break tag there, that is why we have everything together.
No. Okay. Olutoye rather. Olatoye. Sorry. Olatoye, please go ahead.
I think it's because you already gave a write it by styling it with the amount of padding.
No, okay. The reason being that is because I mentioned in the beginning when we were doing HTML that there are inline and there are block elements. And a list element and a tag is actually an inline element. So that is why. Okay, let's now do a gap. Let's have a gap there. You can either use a margin or a padding, but let's have a gap and let's see. Gap 3 pixel. There are also different kind of measuring units in CSS. By the next class, I said by this class I'm going to do measuring units. Measuring units are either you have pixel, you have rem. Let me just write them at the top of the class here. Let me write them here. You have pixel, you have rem, you have percentage, you have percentage, you have inches, you have inches, you have cm. Any kind of measuring unit that you have in your mathematical equation, you have the same thing in CSS. While some are relative, and some are absolute. By the next class, we'll have a definite class on CSS measurement. So I don't want to bore you with the details. It's kind of complex because while some are relative and some are absolute, if you use them differently, they are not going to work. They are going to work, but when you are working with responsiveness, that's when you are going to have issues. So we have given it a gap of 3 rem, of 3 pixels. You can see it's not working. The reason being that let's now do this. Let's now select, let me split my screen so I don't need to be going back and forth. Let me split my screen here. So I have my HTML on one part and I have my CSS on the other part. Michael, is anyone having any, is there any question in the chat box? There's no margin. No, okay, there's no question. So let's continue. So you have your nav, then you now have .nav dash. For this now, I'm trying to select the li element inside it. So nav link li, and I have margin 3 pixel. Let's check it. You can see it's worked already, but you can see that with the 3 pixel, 3 pixel, let's make it 5 pixel. So it's just a normal regular space beside both of them. So but for this our element, let's give it a padding so that everything is going to be in the center. So let's come to the body. Let's give it a padding of a padding left and right, a padding right, a padding left. There are ways of doing this padding. If I do padding right, I give that padding right. Let's do 3 pixel. Padding left, 3 pixel. So now I'm only giving padding right and left 3 pixel, but I don't want to write padding left and padding right twice. So there is something in CSS. I can just do this. I can just have my padding. I can just have my padding and I call it like this. I do padding. I have if you do this 3 pixel, 3 pixel, 3 pixel, 3 pixel, 3 pixel, 3 pixel. What this is meaning is that both the top, the top, left, right, how does it go? Is it clockwise? Yeah, it's clockwise. It goes from the left, top, right, and bottom. So now with this, we'll see that all our elements has a padding on the right and on the left. So you can see there's a kind of padding on the right and on the left, but it's not so visible. Let me increase the padding. Let me increase it to 10 pixel, 10 pixel, 10 pixel, 10 pixel, 10 pixel. So you can see that our enrollment now has more space outside here. So a padding, as I made mention in the last class, that a padding is an element, is a space inside an element. But imagine, let's do a margin, and let's see what a margin is going to give us. Let's see a margin. Let's do margin. No, sorry, it's case sensitive. Margin. You can see it's not. Why is it? Okay, it's on the body element. Let me write it on the nav. Let me write it on the nav so you can see it properly. Control X. So, there should be a comma there. So there has to be a comma there before it works. Sorry, I didn't write a comma, so it should work now. You can see the space that we had outside before has now expanded downward. Does anyone have any question? I'm not doing it on the li. I want to make the stuff around it on the container which is holding it, not on the li. I'm still going to do it on the li, so we would have it. Paul, your hand is raised. Kindly unmute and speak.
Yeah, thank you, sir. I just have an observation. Not everybody is actually that swift to be knowing these things or the way you are. Like there's this sequence, like the sequence at which you are taking it. Like it's not that I'm the one confused, but also it's like it can be confusing. You started from going from nav link, then li, then you shift to nav, then the body. It's kind of not sequential. So some people actually, I like when teaching are actually sequential. I don't know for other people, like this can actually get somebody confused. Serious. That's just my own. It's not like I'm following you, but yeah, like you're moving from one place to the other, like on that sequence. So it's kind of, but it's still okay. I can still understand, but I'm just observing it.
Yeah, so sorry, my network went off. Please confirm you can see my screen.
Yes, yes, we can see this one.
All right, thank you very much. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. My network just went off suddenly. Yeah, we can't trust our network providers in Nigeria. So, um, Paul, your hand is raised. It was when you're asking your question, my network went off the other time. So, can you ask a question?
Yes, I was only saying that the sequence at which you are taking us is really high, let me say fast. Yeah,
Oh,
like you move from body, you went back to nav, try to nav link. I know that you're actually trying to let us know alternative in case which one did not work and which one works. Okay, but I'm just saying that maybe it's too very fast. Yeah.
fast, as in, are you not, what is confusing you there? That's what I particularly want to know.
No, like first you came to the body and was trying to do the margin and the padding. So the difference there was not really clear. Then you now
Was
went
not really clear. Okay.
yeah.
Okay. What I was trying to do, Paul, can you make me a co-host? Paul, can you make me a co-host? So the thing there is, it's actually for the body element, you need to, okay, okay, I was trying to make a margin on the body to make sure that when you check this part now, you can see that, let me go back here. You can see that with this our enroll now, there is no space on the right hand side. So I'm trying to give it a margin that, okay, when you come to the page generally, there is a default, the body has a margin on the left and on the right hand side. That is what I am trying to do, Paul. But it doesn't, I don't know why. Oh, sorry, guys. I don't. Where are you guys missing me? So I can just backtrack. Um, which point did you guys miss it? So I can backtrack a bit to come and explain. Um, blessing, blessing. Can you backtrack? Okay, where did you miss it so I can explain? It's in between the nav and the nav link element. Okay, all right. Let me go back there. What I made mention here was that if you want to style an element, you have, we have it here now on the right hand side. We have our nav, which is what is actually holding logo, this nav link that we have here, and also the button, which is the enroll now button. Are you clear with that? Okay, it's moving from one CSS properties to another. But let me just explain. Let me explain that. Let me explain the flow of things to them. So we have a nav which is holding them all. Then we move. Then we have an another. When I styled the nav, which is giving it a flex, that means making everything side by side. Then I gave it a justified space to give it a space in between them. So without a space, I can actually use a margin. I can use a margin, which was what someone explained. He said instead of using margin, margin, I can give it a margin of 3 pixel. Margin of 3 pixel. You can see there is a slight margin there. There is a slight margin amidst both of them. But in CSS, in Flexbox, you can actually, there is no need to use a margin and a padding. What if you want to give it equal space around? I use a justify content space between. That will make with that, it spreads everything out. It spreads everything out to the right hand side and occupies a full width of the screen. Okay, the total space available, it shares everything right there. That is the same thing you can see on this CodeCamp website. But what CodeCamp has here is there's a space on the right side which makes it that okay, this element is not towards the extreme of the wall. It's not on the extreme part of the wall on the right hand side. So that's what I'm trying to do. Okay, on the body element, I am trying to set a margin. Okay, then once you land on the page, there's a margin to the left and to the right on the page. Hope you get that, Paul.
Yes, I get it. I get.
Okay, all right. So now let me now I'll explain that. Okay, now you can see that on this part of the CSS, most of the elements are not aligned. They are not properly aligned. The code can be standing alone. The links are also standing alone, and also the enroll now is also standing at the top. It's like at the top. It's at the top. It's on the top. So I now did something here called align item, which is align item, which is this align item, and I gave it center. So it brought everything together. It brought everything to be aligned on the same line. That's when I used this tool to check it out. Okay, everything, there's no one that is taller than each other. Everything are all aligned to the left and to the right properly, and they are on a straight line. That is what I just did with the align item center. So I move, and I wanted to give it a margin, and I'll give it, okay, let me give it a margin. A margin here, 10 pixel. Let's show it. You can see now that Paul, can you notice something on this enroll now button? On this enroll now, can you notice something there?
Yes, I think the enroll now is aligned with the li links and the picture.
No, I
Yes.
mean on the right hand side. On the right hand side, can you notice something there? Let me remove the margin. Let me remove the margin so you can see it again. Let me remove the margin so you can see it again. So look at the enroll now button. Look at the enroll now, and let me add the margin to it again for you to see what is there. What I did there. So what can you notice now, Paul?
There's a gap. There's a space. Yes.
Yes, exactly. That is what I wanted to do. Okay, now once you come to the page, on the right and on the left, there's also a margin here with this image, and also there's on the right and on the left hand side, there's a margin there already, so making it everything come to the center a bit. Let's also increase. Let's increase the margin. Let's increase the margin. So you can see is aligned more to the center, so we can see it more. Are you clear now, Paul?
Yes, I am. Thank you very much. I am.
Okay. All right. So anyone still having any issues? So what tools? Okay, it's just most of the tools I'm using to check my styling on my browser are from Google Chrome extension. The name of this one is, I think, is pesticide. Yeah, 2pesticide. So most of them is, as a front-end developer, you would need most of them so that you'll be able to check, okay, is my code, is my text, is my what I'm aligning, is it properly aligned? So that's it. So is from Google Chrome extension. It's not something you can need it, you might not need it as a developer, but it's just something you will need. It's just a tool that you need, but it's not compulsory. So, and also on this part, let's now remove the dot. We have a text decoration, line style, list style, none. So you can see now I had a dot here on everything, which is telling me that is a list element. So by the time you do a list style, by the time you do a list style, you would, well, okay, now someone was mentioning in the last class that okay, there are different ways of changing a dot to a box. So now let's now try it out. Let's try that. Let me show you the different kind of list style that we have. There are so many list style. You would see I have a circle, I have a decimal, I have a Roman figure. So let's use this. Let's use Georgia. See what it gives us. You can see when you're using it, it just gives you a different kind of style. But because it's in navigation, you don't need those styling. You don't need that. So the next thing you just have to do is you just put it to list style of none. List style of none. You want to change the color. Want to change the text color. Instead of using text color, I can just do color. And we have let's give it, what color is on CodeCamp website? What color is there? Is it white? Okay, let me use my color picker again. Let me use my color picker again to check it. It is 9. Okay, no, let me Control C. Let me copy this and put it back here. Color is this. Control V. I have to put an hash in front of it. So make sure you put an hash in front of it so the color changes. Okay, it's not supposed, it should be on the A tag. So this is out. Control X. So now I want to style the A tag which is there. You know the A tag, it has an underline which is not supposed to be so. On CodeCamp here, we don't have an underline there. So the next thing we have to do is, let me give this one a margin of 10 pixels. No, let me give it 0 bottom. So let's check it out. You can see there's a space there already. So let's now style the list, the A tag itself. We have a .nav list link, and we have an A tag which is targeting that. We do a text decoration none. The text decoration none is to remove the line which is underneath it. Can you see this? Is anyone confused with what I did here? Is anyone confused? No. So everyone, are we all following? Are we all following? I need response. Can you unmute and speak?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right, that's perfect. So let's continue. So the next thing we have right on this is the color. Let's change the color. Let's change the color. Okay, we have the color to be this. You can see we have is the same color. And what do we have here? We have an active state on this particular element, which is not something out of them. Is when you go to the about us, you can see they are kind of advanced CSS. It's not advanced though, but if I'm bringing it at this point, you are going to be kind of confused. Are you hearing me? Blessing, Abigail, sorry. Abigail, where did you lost me? So I can rephrase again. Abigail. Hilary, can you go ahead? Hilary, hand is raised. Can you go ahead?
Yes, sir.
Abigail, your network is bad. Abigail, your network is bad. I can't hear you. Francisca, please, can you mute Abigail? Francisca, can you mute Abigail? I can't hear. Francisca, can you mute Abigail? I can't hear. Or Abraham, John, Paul, Abraham, can you mute Abigail? I can't hear. I know it's bad. Hilary, can you go ahead?
Okay,
Hello, sir.
Yeah, Abigail, I can hear you.
Hello, sir.
I hear you clearly now, Abigail.
Hello, sir.
I can hear you now, Abigail. Hilary, go ahead. Hilary, go ahead.
Okay, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon.
So I'm actually following, but it's getting a little confused because probably I can't look at your code for a long time. So in targeting the HTML with CSS dot, you put dot nav and you put dot nav li and dot nav a. So that's actually kind of confusing for me. I don't know if you get the targeting, how you targeting it. I thought we target by class, but I'm still seeing nav
I can't
nav
hear you,
link
Abigail.
li. Can you hear me?
Okay. I can hear you. You're saying that I have a nav link li. Okay, this is what I'm doing. I have a nav link, which is the class, which is what is holding, which is the container. Let me use the word container, holding
Yes, sir.
everything. Can you hear me, Hilary?
Clearly, yes, sir.
Okay, I said that this nav link is the container holding the li and the la tag. So when I'm trying to target the elements, okay, I have styled the nav link. So now I want to target this li element because the li is inside the nav link. So I have to target it like nav link li, which is pointing to this li element. So when I did what I did there was I gave it a list style of none so that the dotted line that is around here will be out of it. Do you get to that point, Hilary? Hilary, did you get that?
Yes, sir. I did, sir.
Okay. So I now want to style the a tag, which is also inside. I can actually make it like this. Li a tag is still going to work, which is this. It's
Okay,
still
so we
going to
just
work, but because I don't.
sorry, sir. We just that's what to target
Yeah.
what is inside the container. We just put the container, the next container, and the next container, differentiating them with space.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, sir. Okay,
That's
sir.
basically what you want to do. So you're just trying to target, you're moving from one to another to another. That is what you are doing. You're moving from
Okay.
the nav link to the li to the a tag. That is how it's being styled. Do you get it now?
Okay. And the A tag is actually targeting the for, home, about, contact,
Yes, that
how
is it.
to, and explore. Okay, sir.
Yes, that
Okay.
is it.
Okay,
Yeah.
sir.
So now
All right.
let's now
Thank you.
go to our button. So this one, so we have a button right here. This div is called a button. Let's give it a button. Let's give it a button, which is class. Let's give it a class rather and call it btn. So we come here. Come here, just a second, please. So we come here the same way we target btn, and this we have a background color, and the background color is green. If I'm it has a different shade of green, which is this. You can see. So let's just copy it. Let's just copy it. I've copied it, so let's come back to our code. Control V. No, I didn't copy it actually. I thought I did. Control C. Back here, we have a background color. This. I'll put our hash in front of it. So we have a green. And the next thing we have there, you can see that there is a margin on the top, on the bottom, on the left, and on the right. Can you see that? There is a padding rather. So to achieve that, if we check what we have now, let's save it and see. If we check what we have now, we would see that. Why are you not showing? Okay. Why not targeting the right thing? PTN, okay. A tag. Let's target the A tag. Oh, I didn't save my index.html. Most times it happens like that. I didn't save my index.html. So I'm writing a style in my CSS, but it's not working on my HTML because I didn't save my index.html. So most times actually advisable you have everything on auto save. So you can see that we have our enroll now button having a green background, but it's not spaced out properly. So I have to give it a padding. So let's give it a padding of 5 pixels. So that's on the top, on the bottom, and on the left. Have I saved it? Okay, the padding is actually small. Let's increase it a bit more. Let's give it like 20 pixels. You can see. Is anyone confused? Is anyone confused? Okay, no. All right, no. Is anyone confused? Are you all following? I don't want to go fast and now come back to explaining it again. Okay, Damilola, go ahead and speak.
I just want to ask, is there a specified zoom ratio for that our browser? Is there a specified zoom ratio for it?
Is there
like a specified zoom ratio?
Specified ratio?
Like zoom ratio.
Okay, zoom ratio. I think
Yes.
it's 100%. Is the zoom ratio of every system is 100% or so? I think so. But most time I think mine is 90. I reduced mine to 90. Yeah, it's actually 100%. The default way is 100%. Sometimes mine is actually 100%. So I think yours should be on the default one for every browser is 100%. So it's either you reduce it or you increase it. Are you clear, Damilola?
Yes, I am.
Okay, Hilary, go ahead.
Okay, sir. Thanks, sir. Sir, did you style the arrow to make it go to the right, or is it default? Did the thing go to the right by default?
Yeah, what went to the right by default?
The arrow now, did you style it to go to the right? Because I did not get when what made it go to the right side. Was it styled to go there from the code?
Yeah, it was actually styled from the code to go to the right hand side. I will show you how I did it. I'll just backtrack and
Can you just
Paul,
highlight
your
the
question.
line? Okay.
Hello, sir.
I will do that. Paul, your
I'm actually seeing that there's a different color from that your nav link, like what the container collecting both the link and the enroll and the image. It's like there's a different color on it than the background that I'm seeing. I don't know whether it's my eyeball. I think there's a different color surrounding them than the background, like the normal body. Are you the one that did it?
is it on our design or what we are using? Is it on
Yes,
our
on this very
design or on what we're
yeah,
implementing?
on this design that you are doing, there's a background there that is different
The
from
background
that.
of white, there's the background of white and there's a background of green. Is it the green you are talking about? and the text is
No,
blue.
no, it's not the
Is that what
guy.
you're talking about?
I don't know that. I don't know that is my eyeball. Let me just leave it there. But I think I'm seeing a different color on the top. What
What
the
color are you
container
seeing?
collecting, but I mean
What color are you seeing?
something
What
like
color are
something
you
that
seeing?
is it's like white, but it's darker. It's darker small.
I can't. I think maybe it's your eyes or something. The only colors we have here is we have a general background color, which is white, and we have a background color for this arrow now, which is green, and the default color of every link element is actually blue. Then we can now change the color ourselves to white. So let me quickly
Okay.
answer Hilary's question. Hilary, this is what I did. On this nav element, we have flex, and this is just the particular line of code that is making it flink that takes it to the right hand side. You can see Hilary. Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You can see that everything when I did flex, everything are all on the same line.
On the
They are
same
all on the
line. Yes.
left hand side. By the time, yeah, they're on the right hand side. But by the time I do a flex, a justify content space between, by then I do this, it gives everything an equal space to the right and to the left. So everything is all centered. Do you get it now, Hilary?
Yes, I got it, sir.
Okay.
Thank you very
Does
much.
anyone have any other question? Yeah. Paul, the nav is having a background I don't really understand. Okay. Well, from this our design, you can see that we just have a general white background. Paul, we have a general white background, and on it, this green element, this button has a green background. There's no other white background that you're seeing. I don't know where you're seeing a white back, another background. There are just two backgrounds here. So now let's continue. Let's style uh, our a tag. So we have this. We have .btn a tag, and we have color. We have color which is white. FFF. White is FFF. So let's check it, and we have to remove the text element. Who can spot out the error here? There's an error in my code here. Who can spot it out? Whose mic is muted? Whose mic is unmuted? Um, who wants to spot out the error I have in my code and why it's not going to work? There's an error here. Who can tell me the error? Hilary, your hand is raised. Hilary, your hand is raised. You want to tell me the error? Ezekiel.
I actually did not know
Ezekiel,
what
go.
normal.
Hello, sir.
Ezekiel, why is this?
Hello.
Why am I having an error? Why is
Sir,
this
sir, please,
why
you
is
didn't,
this bit?
sir, please, you didn't put a semicolon. You didn't put a
Yeah,
semicolon
that
in
is
your
it.
column.
So at every point of you styling, yeah, at every point of you styling, for you to close your code, you have to put a semicolon behind it. Olasukomi 112. Can you mute your mic? Francisca, please help me mute Olasukomi. So you have to put a semicolon behind it so that it knows that that part is closed. It's just like having a closing tag in your HTML. That is the next thing you have to do on your CSS. So we have it right there. You can see that it's now white. If you look at this design properly, you can see that our enroll now button has something like a curved edges. Okay, there's something like a curved edges around there. So let's give it the curved edges also. There's something called border radius. Border radius. border radius. Let's give it 2 pixel. Yeah, Bankole, you have a question? Go ahead and speak. Let's give it 3 pixel, 5 pixel. Bankole, Bankole, you have a question?
Yes, yes, sir.
Yeah?
It's about the BTN and the BTNA. Is it that if we have everything under BTNA, under BTN, it won't work? I don't know if you get my question.
I can't hear you. You're kind of far away from your microphone. I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you clearly now.
I said it's about what we have under BTNA. Is it that when we have it under BTN,
Yeah?
it won't work?
It's not going to work because that's just a container. You are actually targeting the element inside. If you are putting it, let's put this text decoration now. Let's put the text decoration here now. Control V. You can see it's not working. It's still going to have the underline. You have to target that particular element that is holding it, which is the A tag. You get it now, Bankole?
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. You're welcome. So who else? Someone's hand is raised again. Who is that? Hilary, your question.
Okay, sir. A very quick one. For the BTNA, the color is white, and from previous observation, the HEX is usually 6, and this 3. Is it that by default it will work FFF instead of 6F?
It's going to work. So if I do something like this, if I do F1, F1, you can see there are some colors that are just 3. You can see there are some that are 3. There are some that are 4. There are some that are 6. So if I do FFFFF, F, which is 6, is still white. And if I do 3, it's still going to work. So it's just when you're writing a particular color, which the color index is 6, and you put a let me try CCC. I don't know which color is CCC. See, you can see it's gray, and by the time I make it 3, it's still the same gray. So by the time you have an element, you might have by the time if you have a color that the 6th letter gives you a particular color, even if you write the 3 letters, it's still going to be the same color. That's that about that. So hope you understand, Hilary.
Yes, I get the gist.
Yeah. So let's continue. What's the next thing we have right here? You can see we have a rounded border. You can see we have a rounded border, but there's still more space to the right and to the left. So padding 20 pixel, we give this one 30 pixel. Let's make this one top and bottom 10 pixel. So I'm just having a shortcut here, which is padding 10 pixel. That is, the first one is top and bottom, and the next one I have here of 30 pixel is left and right. So let's check it. You can see the top and bottom is 10 pixel, and the left and right is 30 pixel. Is anyone no one is confused? So we can now move to, I think we are done with this part. Is anyone confused with our header? Does it look different? Can anyone tell me any difference they can spot from what we have done here? Is there any difference? Look at the design. Okay. Damilola, is there any difference? Look at what we have.
The left and right is now 10
and what
pixels.
we implement.
The left and right is 30 pixels. The top and bottom is 10 pixels. I said the left and right is 30 pixels.
Yeah.
It's wider. Then the top and bottom is 10 pixels closer.
Yeah. Yeah. So what I'm actually asking you to check particularly is that look at what we implemented, this, and what we have here, is there a difference?
Yes,
Except from the
definitely.
margin at the top, and the way it's brought to the down. Is there really any difference? Does
Yes,
it look
there is.
alike? What's the difference? What's the difference?
I think the top and bottom.
There's a margin there.
The top and bottom is reduced.
Okay. Yeah, also there's a difference there. The difference there is, yeah. If we check the chat box, the difference is that you can see that the home page has an active state of blue. That means when it's blue, once you're on the home page, it's going to be blue. That means telling you that you're particularly on the home page, which is called an active state, which is this. So we can now do this. If you want to set that, you have to come here. You have to come to your btn.btn a, and you have an what will I call it? A pseudo element. It's called a pseudo element. Active, and you have color. What is the blue color? I think it's not the natural blue. Let me point out the blue color. Let me pick the blue color. The blue color is this is it. Okay, Control V. So I'll get to the index of HTML page. Oh, I know I didn't link it properly. Why is the pseudo element not working? Active text color. That's not what I wanted to do. Which is, it should actually be here, not on the button element. So let's do this. Let's do active text color. Text color is what? Blue. Coming, why is it not showing? Doesn't matter. Li active pseudo element. No. It's supposed to work, but I don't know why my code is not working. It might be something I'll figure out along the line. Well, let me give the home a class. No, I can't give. The reason why I can't give the home a class is because it's supposed to be an active state when I can't give Paul, according to your suggestion, I can't give the home a class because if the state is not active, what if we are on the home on the explore page? You can see that the explore page also have a blue on it. So it has to be dynamic. When a particular one is active, it becomes blue. So I can't give it a class name like that, but I think there is it should be the active state. I don't know, because I know once it should be, there's something called over. There's over. This is over, and let's see if once it's over, you can see the over is actually working. Mean that once I over on it, it should turn blue, which is the perfect way it's working. But I don't know why active is not working, but I would figure that out. So I think we are done with the navigation. So the next thing we have to do now is we have to come to this landing page, to this part of the screen, which is the next section. So does anyone have any question with the upper section with the navigation we have worked on? Any question? Any question? If you have any question, you can raise up your hand before I proceed into the next one. Okay, there's a lot of questions. Kafayat, can you unmute and speak? Let me answer your question.
Yes, sir. Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning.
You talked about the active state. The thing is, I don't really know what the active state is used for. Like, I know it did not work, but like, if you make use of the active state, is it that the color will automatically change to blue, or is only when we are in the home page then it will be blue or something like that? I don't understand the use of the active state.
Okay, this is what the active state is for. Look at this, our design. You can see that once we are on the home page, Kafayat, can you unmute? Kafayat, can you unmute your mic? Kafayat, can you? Okay, yeah. So you can see now on this home page, you can see that the color is actually blue. And when we navigate to the About Us page, it becomes blue. And every other color is grayed out. That is what the active state is for. It's to tell you that, okay, once you're on it, is indicating that you are on this particular page. That is making it that the color is different from any other one, which is what I tried to implement something like that, which I did for the overstate. By the time you move your cursor over a particular link, it becomes blue. Do you get that now, Kafayat?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Yeah. Who is the next person? Who has a question? Adelani, go ahead.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Sir, I noticed that the margins or the space in between the nav links is not as wide as it is in the CodeCamp website. And also, why you were trying to do the active and the overstate, why did you have to put why do you have to open another tag for it? Why did you just put it under the existing link? I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say. You can go back to your VS Code so that.
Yeah, I understand. I understand what you're trying to say. You want us to have like a nested link inside. You want us to have something like this inside it. That's a.active. Sometimes this will work, but it's not a good practice. You can actually see it's telling us that there's an error here. Sometimes it's going to work, but it's not. It's just a good practice that you separate what you have. You have an active state, you have an over. You do it separate, because if you are working responsiveness, you want all your styles to be aligned. That is why you have to define your style separately. You understand that, Adelani?
Yeah, yes, I do.
And also for the style, for the space, you can see that I can see I just gave it a gap of 3 pixels. If I give it a gap of 20 pixels, it should expand. Yeah, you can see the space has expanded.
Exactly.
I'm not giving it a margin, I'm giving it a gap. Yeah.
Gap, okay.
So I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, very well. Thank you.
Yeah. Who is next? Yeah. Chiamaka Goswill. Chiamaka Goswill. Chiamaka, if you are
Good morning, sir.
Yeah. Good morning.
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, I can hear you. Your hand is raised.
Hello?
You have a question. You have a question?
Yes, sir. Hello? Can you hear me, sir? Good morning.
Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead.
I think I'm lost somewhere. This. Yes, I have a question. I'm speaking. Yes, so I'm speaking. Okay, I
Francisca, please help
said
me.
this bottom class. Where did we get the pages file sign sign.html from? Is it a file?
Yeah, I think I understand your question, Gosri Chiamaka. If you go to the you came late to the class, that is why you don't know where the sign-in page is. You can have to go back to the YouTube video to check to see where the sign-in page is. I can't be going back to that over and over
Hello?
again. Francisca, please help me mute Chiamaka. Adebayo, Afolabi rather. Afolabi, please go ahead. Afolabi, go ahead.
Okay, thank you so much. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Can you hear me, please?
Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. The question has been asked before, though. Like the background. So the general background for the body is white. So for the nav bar,
Okay.
there's another background for it in the CodeCamp website. So ours, we don't have it yet.
I'm
So I
coming.
think we need to fix that. That's what somebody
You
has
can. There's
said.
no. It's actually okay.
There
I
is
noticed
a
that
yes.
now. There's a background on the nav, and there's no.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. I can see it. So
All
that's.
right.
I didn't notice it. You can see that it's white, so I didn't notice it.
Yes.
All right.
Thank
Thank you for spotting that out. So who is the next? Let me just fix that. The navigation as next person. Go ahead and unmute and speak. Tijani.
Hello.
Tijani, you can go ahead and speak. Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, sir. Good morning, sir. In respect to that,
Yeah, good morning.
over the over home page, that home page that the color is blue, can't we change the color when we over it to the blue color? Once immediately we clicked it, it's going to change color to blue so that the thing will be active.
That is why if that's why I was saying that you have there's over state, there's active state, which is nav dot. There are different kind of states. There's over state, there's active state. When we get to pre-pseudo elements, we'll talk about that. Is quite there are different kind of elements. There's last child, there's a pre-pseudo last child. They are all in CSS. But when we get to pre-pseudo class, we'll talk about that. So I don't want. That's why I was saying I don't want to go into it at the beginning, right there.
Okay, sir.
So I don't want us to go ahead of the class and come back. So that's it.
All right, thank
Who
you.
is the next? Hilary. Hilary, go ahead.
Okay, sir. Good day, sir.
So, yeah.
So I actually raised up my hand when you asked the question. What was the difference? What difference are we seeing? I think probably didn't see
Okay.
check.
I think I figured that. So
Well,
you
no,
can
not
see
even
that
the color.
there's
The
not a
color.
different color.
Yes, sir. Oh, I wanted to spot out like
Yeah, I can hear you. Go
why
ahead.
it's longer, like the height is bigger than the CodeCamp
Yeah, what we have
website.
there. Yeah. We can always reduce the height. Some CSS styling you can just do. You just have to reduce the height to we don't have the original design. We are just prototyping what is there. So we can't really see. We are just prototyping using our eyes to fix the design and every other thing. So let's go to the next. Let's go to the next phase of it. We have 15 minutes. We can still do something. So
sorry, I'm not done.
Let's come here. Can you go ahead? Can you go ahead? Why you're asking your question? Let me write the HTML for the next part. So we have the
Then
main.
how did you split your screen to have two working HTML and CSS?
It's on your VS Code. Just take the top right corner. The top right corner, you see it there.
Okay. Then 3, what's the default size for a anchor tag. Assuming I also do
The
UI UX,
default
so
size,
most times I get it with default text size. What's the default text size?
well, I didn't style my the default. I didn't style my text. I didn't give it a style. It's just the style that
Yes, we didn't give it a
probably I
we didn't
think
give it
it's
a
the size is automated. The size is directly from the element. I think it's like is it 5 pixel or so? I can't remember the size. So it's the A tag that carries the size. So
okay, sir. Okay,
yeah,
sir.
I think it's
I
5 pixel.
okay,
I
I guess
don't know the size. So
okay, I guess I'll search about it then. I thought you know it by default. I'll search about it and find out. Thank you, sir.
no, it's just a default size that is there. All right. So let's fix this. We have our H1, and we can see our tech. We have to put it in a span element. We did this in the last class, so we can be able to style this separately. Control X. I have to put it right here. Then what's the next thing we have here? We have a P tag. What is in our P tag? Sorry, I'm just copying and pasting. I don't want to take time trying to type what we have there. It's right here. And the next thing we have a button. What is there? Which is get started. And we have an image. We have an image right here. Yeah. Can we see what we have now? Are we following? Are we all following? Are we following?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
all right. Okay, so let's just continue. So the next thing we have to do here is we have to make it a flex. So what do we have right here? The, let's give the main. We have a main. We have to give it a margin. Let's give it 10 pixel and 30 pixel. The next thing we have here is we have to display it flex, so it's side by side. Display flex and justify content, space between, and we have to align item center, item center. We have a question here. So let's see what we have. We have everything side by side, item center. Who can tell me what's going on here? Why is everything all side by side? You can see that the three of them are all side by side, which is not supposed to be so. It's just supposed to be two elements that are supposed to be side by side. Can anyone tell me why? If you are really following the class I'm writing, the code I'm writing, can anyone tell me why?
So
All right, yeah, because all of them are inside. All of them are in the same div.
all of them are in
All of them
main.
are inside the same div. So yeah, so I have to separate them. I have to separate them. Let me just give it main content. So let me close this right here. So we are done with this right now. So we can see we have this together. So, but we don't necessarily need to put it as item center because we don't need it to be in the center. What else do we have there? Let's check this. So we have to give this one, we have to reduce the height of this image. We have to reduce the height. To achieve all these other extra styles that is around it, you have to use something called this. We have a class of positioning. We have a class of positioning in CSS, which you are going to work on those items. The way you are going to you can move item from the regular position to a different shape. So let's bring it down a bit. Let's style the content here. Let me see. What do we have? We have the color. You have to bring it down a bit. Main content. Dot main dash content, and bring it margin top. I downloaded the images. So that's why I have the images. I downloaded the images from CodeCamp website. So that's why I have it. So let's give it 50 pixel. So it's going to come down a bit. Is it okay? Is it okay? No. Is it okay? No. Let's make it come down a bit more. Let's give it like 70 pixel. Let's give it 70 pixel. Come down a bit more. 70. And we have to do something here so that it's going to be a line break. Develop and take. Develop. So at any point, okay, develop. Let's give it a line break here so that we have everything on a straight line. So we have this, and what for? Okay, skill 2. Maybe we have the last one, text strip. So we have what we want. So we have to reduce the image, the size of this image. We have to reduce the size. But before we do that, let's now style. Let's style the content. Let's give each one. Let's give it the color that it has and the font size. Each one. The font size. The font size is think 50 pixel. Let's check it and see. Okay, yeah, it's looking alike. Let's now check out the color. Let's check out the color. Is that the color? No. Color is this. We have a different color, which is this. We have a color. And let's now take our span. Control C. Let's give it color. The color of that is green. The green we have up here, so which is this. So let's check it out. Put a semicolon right here, which is if it's the only element we don't have it. So let's check it. Does it look alike? Does it look alike? What we have right here and what we have here. Does it look alike? Yes, it does. The colors look alike. I think it's just a typo error here. It's just a typo error here. So I think with that, yeah, Francisca, I have a question. Go ahead.
Good morning,
Francisca.
sir.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning, sir. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Can
Go
you hear me,
ahead.
sir?
Yes, I
Okay,
can hear
sir.
you. Go ahead.
The images you downloaded, ordinarily, images don't look that way. Is there not some form of CSS that was given to make image look that way?
Okay, what that image was, the image there is actually downloaded it directly from CodeCamp website. I actually downloaded that image directly from CodeCamp website. So what they had here was it has already been styled by the UI UX designer. The person that designed it has already styled this image. The only difference there is that this mentorship opportunities, this text you can see on it, were positioned on it. There were some CSS that was done on that. That's why I said that as we go on with CSS, we are going to have a topic on positioning. So that is where we are going to implement this X that is on this right hand side and every other styling that every other image you can see outside here, you are going to use that. You are going to use positioning to style it. And sometimes if you are using Figma, which is a tool for UI UX designers, you can just inspect the element and download it the way it is. Because when UI UX designers are designing and when they are designing on Figma, they put all their elements all together. So you can just download it as an image. But at this point, they use positioning to put all these elements on the right and on the left hand side. Do you understand? All these images now, I didn't use any styling on it. I just downloaded it directly from CodeCamp website. Did I answer your question, Francisca?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. You're welcome. Who else? Adilani? Adilani, please go ahead.
Okay, sir. Sir, I said the span. I think I'm lost there. The span. Where is the span exactly in the HTML file? Because the HTML does not pull the screen. So I said maybe you should press Alt Z so that we're going to see the screen in full.
You can
there are
see
some.
You can see I have a span. I have a span inside my H1 tag. I have a span inside my H1 tag, which is to style the text separately. Because if you check our design, you can see that the text is styled differently. That is why I have the span. So I can give it color green, which is what I did just here.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
So you're welcome. I'll be taking the last question for the day because our time is up and we would continue in the next class. Delani. Oh, sorry, Delani, you have asked
Yes,
a
sir.
question. Hilary, go ahead.
Yes, I can hear you. Sir, for this image, if you're building something new and there's no image, is there a way you can put image in the shape, like draw the shape, put the image inside?
Yes, there are ways
With
you can do
code.
that. There are ways you can do. You have to use something called CSS polygon. You have to use CSS polygon for that. Did
Okay.
you get that,
And
Hilary?
also, yes, he said CSS
Yeah.
polygon. I got that. That also,
Yeah.
that means we can also
Yeah.
design it on probably Photoshop or something else and save the picture, put transparent, and still copy it as an image also, right?
Yes, you can do that.
Okay, sir. Then this kickstart your develop your skill, your career in tech. Did you break? Did you put break after the develop?
Yeah, I put a break there. There's a break there.
Okay, sir. And we can
There's a
still
break tag.
bold. Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
I'm
Okay,
using
that's
an
all, sir.
H1 tag. That is why it's bold. I'm using an H1 tag. That is why it's bold.
Okay, but it seems the code camp is still thicker than ours.
Yeah, that's I have to increase the font weight. That's where I have to increase the font weight.
Okay, font weight. Okay, sir.
I have to increase the
All
font
right.
weight. Yeah.
Thank you very much for this, sir.
So yeah, you're welcome. So thank you. We have come to the end of this class, and we'll continue on Friday on failing it. So please, I'm so sorry for the network issues that we had today. We are in Nigeria, so we have to understand. So in the next class, it's going to be better. Thank you very much for joining. Do enjoy the rest of your day, and have a lovely day ahead.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So John, you can stop the recording because you are the host.
Thank you,
John,
sir.
stop the recording and end the class. John, can you do that?